All right, Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rachakwadash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders, a great millstone. Peace and blessings to the whole free elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be, Shalom, Yahshua, Shalom. We're going to get into another various article session. This one, as you see, is a few days old, 5 days old, but I never actually pulled it up. It's actually been a short while since I've been over to these videos at Rumble. And so it says here, what is it? I guess that's the title. Okay, 13 nations sign WEF treaty to destroy and rebuild major cities before 2030. Now we already know when you see that date 2030, that means whatever these so-called elite have planned is not too far off at all. All right, it's definitely not talking about 2030. Also, a lot of people have been talking about like with Cali, it was a land grab, and other different places they've done. It's all about land grabbing. Even if you want to jump across seas to dealing with the Israelis and the I guess the Ishmaelites, whatever you want to call them. I forget the name of the particular group, but wiping out Gaza and all that different area there, taking it over. It's all about land grab because they supposedly want to put up these 15-minute cities. That's the talk, anyways, the general talk, that they want to put up these 15-minute cities, which is not too far off from their agenda. But yeah, it says 13 nations signed WEF treaty to destroy and rebuild major cities before 2030. So let's play this video here. Might be an ad, yeah.
Welcome to our 2-minute VAC chair virtual demo. This video is going to show you why. Welcome to our 2-minute VAC chair virtual demo. This video is going to show you
13 nations have signed a WF treaty agreeing to dismantle and rebuild major cities under the guise of the so-called Agenda 2030. Using climate change as the ultimate cover, the WF has set the stage for a devastating attack on everyday people. Their endgame? To reach.
And this guy on the screen here, one I call Dr. Evil, this is a guy who spoke. I want to say it was at a World Economic Forum, which is underway right now. It might have been the one last year or whenever, one of these previous years. But actually, I believe that was last year when he said it. I'm not sure if it was the World Economic Forum or not, but he said that he wants to merge man and machine, and he used the word fusion, right? So what does he mean when he says that? What is he talking about, a fusion of man and machine, where they have something called nanotechnology, and pretty much it's basically generally taking their technology that they have and micro-sizing it into what we know as the microchip, right? And so as we pull out recently the verse in Habakkuk chapter 2, where it says he heapeth unto himself all people, so on and so forth. All right, so his ultimate gathering of all the people is enslaving everybody under his let me see if I can get this here. I'll pull up this one. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get the Habakkuk since I just mentioned it real quick, because I was just thinking about something else. We should all be familiar with Revelation chapter 13. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine. It's not talking about some actual strong drink or anything like that. All right, it's talking about his way of life, his living, thinking, his policies, and things of that nature. All right, he is a proud man. All right, you often hear pride spoken about together with the Edomites, and the Edomites are the so-called white people, as well as Amalek, which Amalek are the Israelis across the seas. All right, they're all houses of the same house I meant. All right, Amalek is just one of those chief houses. So it says he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell. Hell is just the grave. All right, you got people constantly dying. Graves, there's never, there's always, a body to be put into a grave. All right, so you can never fill up the earth like that. We just ran out of graves. No, there's no such thing as running out of graves. All right, people are always dying. Graves are always being filled. All right, so it says he enlarges his desire as hell and is as death. Okay, it says and cannot be satisfied, and that death, because hell, grave, death are synonymous. And speaking of death, when you go back to their blessing, right, they were given the fatness of the earth and the dew from heaven above, especially in Revelation 6 and 4, where it says that they were given a great sword to take peace from one another, that they should kill one another. All right. So he is as death, and everywhere he goes, actually further down in this chapter, it speaks on that too. Because everywhere he goes, all right, it's about taking over territories for their sakes, and a lot of times it's over the resources of that particular country or whatever the place may be, which we've seen them do that here in right here in Babylon. So it says, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. All right. And so that is where he wants to implement his micro C-hip, all right, and plant everybody with his little device, which gives them full autonomy over every aspect of your life from a remote location, all right? Because you're not able to buy or sell, which is base level, but so many other things come from that. They know everything about you. And when I say everything, I mean everything, all right? There's talk about they want people, which not everybody can afford electric cars, but at the same time, they're saying they want everybody to have electric cars. So not everyone can afford electric cars, but even those that can afford electric cars, why is that? All right, the key word there is electric, because they can shut down these vehicles whenever they please. All right, because it has to go back to your system. Just look up the Teslas and things that they have happened with these Teslas since they've been out. All right. So if they want to shut down your car, and they have regular cars that can do that, they just shut you down and your car just stops where it is. You might be on the highway somewhere, bam. So what more an electric vehicle? All right. And then and electric vehicles can't go but for so long without recharging them. Okay. So would that not overpower the grid? Possibly. But the more key thing there is that because they can actually shut down your car and stop you from moving. With a micro C-hip in your body, they can actually shut you down, not like a robot, like you stop moving or whatever. But if you're not able to go into a store and buy things and get what you need, all right, they pretty much have control over your life, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And that is how they want the earth, because they see everyone as cattle, even their own people, as nothing but cattle, man. All right. So this so-called New World Order, all right, is really set up for the elites, man, of society, these banking families. It's not set up for everyone else. We can read these real quick. So it says, and he calls, and matter of fact, let me get this. 14 says, and deceiveth them that dwell, Revelation 13 and 14, deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, which actually ties into Revelation 20, because it says that he was loosed from his prison, right, when that little season now, to deceive the nations. All right, it says, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So who had a wound by the sword and did live? It's talking about the ancient Roman Empire, which came back up during the Renaissance period. Renaissance means rebirth. Okay. And verse 15 says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And basically, if you're not in line, like we just mentioned, Dr. Evil there, if you're not in line, he I believe it was him who also said that himself, that you will be undesirable and locked out of society. All right. If you're not down with this system, this game plan, all right, to merge, fuse man and machine. What's that fusion? To implant everybody with a trackable device that controls your finances and your personal information and everything else. And buying and selling, we always mention, is base level. But those are also weapons of war. All right. No food. Actually, there could be food. All right. But how do you get the food? You have to pay for it. Okay. So food and money go hand in hand, and they've found out a way to take both the food and the money and put them together and weaponize it against the people. So it says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. Doesn't matter your social status, how much money you think you do or you don't have. All right, rich, so-called middle class, which they're doing away with that, or you're piss poor. All right, doesn't matter your age, if you're elderly or young or an infant baby, all right, newborn. Okay, doesn't matter if you're in the prison system or out here in the world under the lie that you are free. All right, the illusion that you are free. All right, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their forehead. That word mark there in the Hebrew, in the Greek is charagma. Okay, stamp or an imprinted mark. Okay, And how will they get this thing into you? You have to go against the laws of the scriptures, which is to make cutting in your flesh. They have to I'll be careful because they got me for this last time. We'll just say they have to poke you and inject you, all right, with their device, all right. I don't know if I could, say any more careful than that. Maybe, but you get the point though. Trying not to get catch a strike or whatever. But yeah, implant you with their device, and that's the control system, all right. Where you no longer have a cell phone or a laptop or a tablet, whatever. You walking around doing this, doing that, the third thing. No, you are the walking, talking cell phone, laptop, tablet, television, whatever the case may be. And they'll know your whereabouts at all times. And then they also have cameras set up to watch things. And so there's really no escaping their system if you fall into it. All right. That's why we have to constantly pray that the Lord take not a spirit from us and that, we endure. All right. Because our temptation is coming. Okay. It says that no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, which is 666, which will be embedded in the UPC code, which will be inside that device. All right, basically marking you, they're saying that you belong to one of these banking families. Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 606. All right, 666, which goes deeper than that. I think I went 3. Since we mentioned, all right, it says, because thou hadst kept the word, Revelation 3:10, the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. And this is another one for that lesson I did earlier. All right, response to Apostle Gabar's lesson. Right, when you go into this word world here, all right, that word is oikomene, okay, which means all the inhabited earth. All right, in the Greek, the word is oikomene. Right, so it shall come upon all the inhabitants of the earth, whether you're elderly, young, in between, or newborn baby. All right, to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right, because they want to get everybody fitted and kitted with their device, because that is how they solidify their control system. They can all the other things in place. If they can't get people, chipped up, it's not going to work. All right, it all relies on that chip. Okay, so let's see if we can go back to this video here. Is it here? Yeah.
To reshape urban landscapes into 50-minute cities, vast open-air prisons where freedom is a relic of the past and escape is no longer an option. This isn't a distant dystopian fantasy. It's happening now, and the grisly details of their long-planned operation are coming to light. Stay with us as we connect the dots, uncover the evidence, and expose the truth they tried so hard to keep hidden. Before we dive in, picture this: 13 of the world's most populous nations signing a shadowy WF treaty that paves the way for tearing down major cities, literally leveling them to the ground, all in the name of Agenda 2030. Their goal? To eliminate private car use, redesign neighborhoods into so-called 15-minute cities.
And yeah, I'm glad that picture came up because, they want to push to you AI, AI technology, with the virtual reality, the VR, the augmented reality, the AR, and the extended reality, the XR. All right. So it's basically like they're trying to bring that movie, The Matrix, to life. All right. Not in the sense really like of the movie, because that's, a lot of it is fairy tale. Except for when you're talking about the deeper aspects of it. Those things are realistic, where the world around you is terrible, but your outing in life is by creating a fake world, right? Not in the physical sense, but you're using this technology, like you see this man with the goggles, all right? That's why we mentioned those different movies before, like Ready Player One, right? These people were living in a fantasy world, all right? Their real life was jacked up, but in this world, they could be happy. They can do whatever they want to do. They can meet new people. They can mold and shape their so-called destiny, all right? The things that they wanted the most in life, they can have it through this virtual reality. But when you come out of the reality, or right when you plug back into the matrix, you realize, or actually out of the matrix in a sense, really, you realize that the world around you is trash and that life is terrible. Okay, but this is how they want people living in 15-minute cities, on the radar, hipped up, always monitored, always watched, social credit scoring system, universal basic income, All right, robots working on everything. Only reason for humans to be working is to satisfy their own personal needs of that they're being beneficial, or some kind of satisfaction out of actually working, but it won't be necessary, and different things like that. And in the virtual world, you're creating the life that you want. So you can I guess take off the goggles and experience the real world. I don't know. You get tired of it. You get angry. You're tired because you got to eat, sleep, and shop and things of that nature. And then when you come home, you put on your virtual reality headset, and now you're back as a king living in a castle or some crazy mess like that. All right, it's not realistic, but this is what Esau wants for the world. All right, why they actually live in the real world with the real wealth and the real riches and the real power and things of that nature.
And transform our urban spaces into what critics are calling open-air prisons. But here's the kicker. They plan to do it by faking natural disasters and terrorist attacks, manufacturing chaos to devastate entire cities while blaming it all on climate change. It's a masterstroke of deception, traumatizing the population into submission and using the ashes of our broken cities to build their utopian smart cities. If you think this sounds far-fetched, stay tuned. We've got the details, the evidence, and the connections the elites don't want you to make. After calling us conspiracy theorists for warning about 15-minute cities, the mainstream media is now dropping the pretense, openly reporting plans for these dystopian zones where people are confined to their districts, unable to leave without permission. After 3 years of...
And what you notice is it's not so much as a secret anymore. Like, a lot of people are talking about these so-called 15-minute cities because it's what we've always mentioned, from Revelation 12, man. The devil hath a short time. Let me just get it before I brought it up. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Yeah. So a lot of things that Esau is doing is very blatant and it's very sloppy. But they're coming on to a point where they can't spend all their time and their energy hiding things anymore. All right. Now, of course, they're going to keep secret as much as possible, but some things they're just going to have to do. All right. And so different, talks of things like this, like 15-minute cities, it's not so, far-fetched anymore. All right. People are starting to believe it because people are actually seeing it. All right. It's happening. All right. This crazy major disaster happens and all of a sudden people can't get their land back or their houses or whatever the case may be. All right. So who's taking it? The government, which really is not really the government, but because it goes back to these banking families, but you get the point. Okay. To establish these so-called 15-minute cities. Okay. So you see different things like that happening. And it's not so far-fetched anymore where people scream conspiracy theory, all these conspiracy nut and, all this craziness. And then things are happening right in front of people's faces. So they can't, it's only so long you can scoff and mock and deny a certain thing, especially when it's happening in front of your face. It's only so long you can do that. All right. Then reality sets in. Okay. But he has a short amount of time, to this end game here because there's a cutoff point.
Of planning, city administration is presenting its vision to accommodate a population of 2 million people through 15-minute cities. 3 days of public hearings on the plan began at City Hall this morning. Shailen Skalski has more.
The 15 new district plans and corresponding bylaws will replace 54 existing planning documents dating back to the 1980s. Administration says the goal is to accommodate 600,000 new residents in redeveloped areas with 50% of all new home units added through infill. The plan also calls for half of all future travel to be done by transit and for residents to access all their daily needs within 15 minutes.
Just wait. CBDCs and the social credit system are next on the mainstream media checklists. This is more than just a theory, it's a blueprint for control. According to Klaus Schwab, by 2030, Los Angeles will be completely free of private cars. The city is set to be radically transformed, with wilderness areas replacing roads, where humans once drove and populations confined to so-called open-air prisons with no way out.
It was the 20th Governance Summit.
And we just briefly talked on this, all right? And what does scripture say? Is it Esdras? Where it says a man shall desire to go into a city and should not be able. Now, I'm not saying it exactly because of these 15-minute cities, but at the same time, there's only so far they're allowing you to go. All right, with these cities and with these electric vehicles. All right, they want you hoarded. They want you. I mean, you can't make it up, man. They see you as cattle, and they're going to treat you as cattle. What do you do with cattle? You let cattle out to graze, do this and do that, but they can only go but so far, and eventually they get herded back in. Okay, which is to their their pen, excuse me, or whatever. And for people, it's going to be into the 15-minute cities, man. You only can go but so far and do but so much. All right, before they bring you back in to the city, because they don't want you going off and exploring and and having in different places. They want you all in one place, all being monitored. I don't know if I can find what I'm looking for. I want to say it's in 16. I think it's like below this somewhere. I might have looked over it. Let me just punch it up so I can get it real quick. Shall desire. Let me just put to go. Should be able to get it. Modify. Okay, it was in 15. Oh, wait. Okay, yep. I was thinking about what it says here in 16. That's a good one, though. It says, so that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. For a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. That's more so dealing with, the disastrous times of Jacob's trouble and so on and so forth. But I want to get this one. For the sword and their destruction draw nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right, civil unrest. Okay, straight disobedience for your local law, whether it be police, I don't care if it's SWAT team, a sheriff, doggone, all levels, right, from the state to the government. All right, local, state, and government. All right, people are going to be rebelling because of the everyday life situations that they are placed in. All right, and Esau is looking to get order out of chaos out of this, which will come with saying, okay, this is what's in play now, the digital system, and this is how you continue on. All right, this micro C hit, and they're going to add extra on to make people want it more by saying that you see these men that we're teaching, these men are the problem. All right, that's just going to add fuel to the fire. All right, but it kind of woos the people more because these American people are stupid, man. They'll believe it. Put it out in the right way, they'll believe it. Put it out in the news, because they control the news and the media anyways. They'll believe it because you know why? Because the white man put it on the news. All right, I saw it last night on the 5 o'clock news, so it's automatically true. And so that's going to happen to the men of the Lord. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and evading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Yeah, from lockdowns, from, different diseases and things of that nature. But also, when you speak on their level of their 15-minute cities, it's the same thing. All right. You're only able to go but so far and do but so much and spend, but so much because you're only going to have but so much. All right. Then with the UBI, they're going to give you enough to take care of your bills. They're going to find out what all your bills are and give you just enough to take care of your bills. And probably that number will increase of what they give you every month, depending on the size of your household. And so whatever's left over, you're not going to have enough for you to go and splurge and get all this extra stuff. And then whatever is not spent anyways, which is going to give you more incentive to spend it on something if there's anything left, because whatever is not spent goes back to the government, and you're reloaded to do what? Pay your bills, not to live like now, even though life now is crappy, right? But at least, if you're making enough money, you can go buy an extra thing here, do something nice for yourself here and there. You're not going to be able to do that under this new system. There's going to be no extra for you to do anything extra. All right. You're not going to buy anything, that's too fancy and what they deem as out of your reach. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And once again, this is more so dealing with Jacob's trouble, but I wanted to read it just to, from the aspect of locking people down and corralling them in a general area, as a one population or whatnot.
At Purdue University, our online master's degree in artificial intelligence stands at the At Purdue University, our online master's degree in artificial intelligence stands at the forefront.
13 nations have signed a WF.
Make sure that the houses.
The global elite earmarks Los Angeles
Come to your
People
hotel
right
or
around
wherever
here.
you're. Uber.
with wilderness areas replacing roads, where humans once drove and populations confined to so-called open-air prisons with no way out.
It was the 20th Governance Summit. You will use the app like Uber, but not anymore to call some driver, but
Okay, and I stand corrected. It wasn't at the World Economic Forum. It's the World Government Summit, which is where he is at right now. And I picked up on that like last year, I believe, or year before last. I can't really remember.
automatically guided car, a self-driven car, will come to your hotel or wherever you are and will bring you to the airport. No, Los Angeles is one of the cities with the heaviest traffic. Who told me in 2030 Los Angeles will be private car driven free. And this will allow to transform highways into parks and other public spheres.
The global elite earmarks Los Angeles as the world's first smart city, and plans have been in the works for years to achieve the rapid transformation to Klaus Schwab's 2030 vision in time for the Olympic Games in 2028, when the city will be presented to the world as a model for the future of humanity. The residents of Pacific Palisades sense it. Something is undeniably wrong. Anybody paying attention with eyes wide open knows that. Actor Eddie Griffin says the elite have been preparing for the Los Angeles Pacific Palisades fires for 3 to 6 months before the fire hit. Somebody knew it was coming, and they wanted to make sure the neighborhood was completely destroyed.
I heard they fired over 60% of the firemen's staff 3 to 6 months before the fire hit, so somebody knew it was coming. And man wanted to make sure that the houses they wanted burned down. Google 2028 is going to say Los Angeles smart city. So the best way to get a smart city is by burning out all the residences, and then you can start fresh and build a fucking smart city. This is what the your government is doing to you. They don't give a fuck about us. As Michael Jackson said, all I want to say is they don't give a fuck about us. And another goddamn thing, State Farm canceled fire protection on homes 3 months before the fire. Who tipped them off? Who keeps tipping off motherfuckers that a natural disaster is about to happen?
13 countries.
And it's funny how so quickly people believe, because a so-called celebrity spoke on some, which not saying what he said is, false or whatever, but just saying it's no different from, somebody like Kanye. Okay. There's either set up to say certain things and do certain things, right, to grab the type of attention they want, all right, and then they'll scale back, or they're just allowed to go, off the hinges, kind of like in a controlled opposition type of way. Like with this chick, perfect example. Oh, what's her name? And so many people like her. I can't think of her name right now. What's her name? Candace Owens. Yeah, Candace Owens. She's one of those types, man. All right. Whether she's set up or she's just allowed to fly off the hinges for a reason. All right. These people are not so far off the leash as you may think. There's a lot of different individuals. And like these whistleblowers, I keep saying it over and over and over. You got to listen to these whistleblowers, because everybody that say they're a whistleblower are not actually whistleblowers. There are whistleblowers out there, but sometimes there's some individuals who are set up who say that I'm a whistleblower, and it's really only to spread confusion and false information, man. Not everybody that says they're a whistleblower is a whistleblower, man. Got to understand that, all right? Not everybody's an actual whistleblower. Some of these people are just set up, all right? But it's a mind thing, man. These elites like to play with people's minds, man. Especially the American people, mainly. Right? They like playing with the people's minds, man. Okay? So there's a lot of controlled opposition out there, all right? And a lot of people who are allowed to do and say certain things, all right? Because if it was that important, which, you know, is controlled anyways. But if it was that important, they'd be shut down, all right, immediately. Like if they were just going off on their own, right? They find a way to shut them down, put some kind of pressure on them, okay? Cat Williams, another one, all right? He spoke about the so-called Illuminati. They shut him down, and all of a sudden he's back doing the same thing. But if they pressed you before, with whatever they threatened you with, how you back doing the same thing now without threats? Question mark, right? But anyways, but see, this is the problem with, you know, these Americans. Like I said, if a person's famous, they'll just fall behind, especially the women. They're weak-minded, all right? You get a famous woman saying certain things, and the women will follow right behind it, man.
Countries, including the US, Australia, Brazil, Germany, Spain, and Uruguay, have agreed to engineer a controlled demolition of their major population centres, one after the other, while simultaneously waging war on the agricultural industry worldwide to usher in starvation and famine for humanity. Part of the global methane pledge, by the way, involves transitioning the world from eating real foods like beef and chicken to instead consuming crickets and insects' larvae, which are toxic and non-nutritious to humans. As you can clearly see with the rampant inflation in recent years, which appears to be hyperinflation in slow motion, we are reaching a point where meat and quality food will become unaffordable for the average person. Many people will have no choice but to eat bugs, insects and crickets, assuming they want to continue living in such a corrupted world, as London mayoral candidate Cheyenne Batra explains.
The 15-minute cities is something that the WEF has created called C40. And it's called C40 Cities. I would urge you to certainly look on the internet about it and then go to all of the TikTokers and see what they're really saying. Basically, you won't be able to drive a petrol or diesel car anymore. You'll have to buy electric. If you want food, you will get a calorie-controlled system sent to you by text saying, this is what you can eat today. This is what you can have today. If you violate any of these things, they'll freeze your bank account. That is the next step. These are stages in which they're going to...
And that's the key thing. How will they freeze your bank account? Easy. They just freeze it. But how does it directly affect you? That's easy, because they want you implanted with a device. So it doesn't matter where you go, where you think you can hide, whatever you think you can do, all right? They'll shut you off from wherever you are standing. You can be in the middle of a line. You got no more food in your house, all right? And you know, this is what you got. You know, you got a cart full of stuff, and you were, I don't know, however they figure out you were jacking around, whatever, being disobedient, and they shut you off. And you get up there to that line and you can't pay, all right? And you know, there's nothing you could do. And you're going to get carried away out of there, all right? Because pretty sure that person's going to put up a fuss and they're going to get carried up out of there, all right? And they hope they don't, you know, catch a charge for disrupting the public or whatever the case may be. And even on a lesser sense, like, you know, there's been instances where people are going to the store and their stores already, they have digital payments and they go in there with their paper currency. All right, you're going to have a lot of that happening where people are not going to be ready for the switch. People are still going to be going into stores, you know, like, oh man, that's crazy, you know, digital money and so on and so forth. So they're going to try to run to the stores, all right, to you know, pull out their money to get their last, you know, run of goods before the digital switch, but it's going to be too late. All right, they're going to run to the store and they're still not going to be able to use their paper dollars because the digital switch will be immediate. Okay, which is probably why they want to shut off the grid in the first place, you know, with some kind of EMP strike and reset it. So when things come back online, all right, which that situation still can happen, right? People are going to be, you know, out of their minds, out of their wits. And so that paper currency you have, you're going to try to use it and it's going to be, you know, null and void. All right, because everything is going to be digital, and that's where the force and the pressure comes. All right, and they want to get you to, you know, buckle under that pressure
to implement this stuff. And this was signed up by the WEF, and the WEF has signed up with our mayor in London as the chair, and he has gone around the world to communicate this C40 to all of the countries in the world, and most of the countries are looking at adopting it. Now, I am going to abolish it. It is a hopeless position. We are going to be in an open prison, or shall we say a COVID, for the rest of our lives. We will not be able to work unless it's in our 15-minute city. It's diabolical. It's not right. This is not the right thing. And it's been hidden from the public. No one's talking about it.
Why does the government prioritise globalist interests over its own people? The 1871 Constitution may hold the answer, a truth recently exposed in a shocking Senate hearing. But first, an important message from our sponsor. Today's sponsor is PillsForever.com. If you think Big Pharma have your best interests at heart, think again. Under Biden, the price of medicine in America has skyrocketed, and there are certain medicines Big Pharma don't want you to know about. That's why I've partnered with PillsForever.com. All of their FDA-approved medicines are the cheapest you'll find anywhere.
Let me get past this mess.
It's desperation. He turned from people medicine.
Showcase its 50-minute city design to the world during the 2028 Olympics. For those who don't think the government would ever conspire against its own people, it's worth brushing up on your history. In 1873, the government killed millions of buffalo to starve the Native Americans, so they would submit to the government and become compliant and dependent. Some things don't change.
This might
That's crazy how he actually brought that up, but hey, it's facts though.
not look familiar to you, but this is the future that's being built for you by the ruling class. This is what they mean by a sustainable future. These are your 15-minute city smart grid apartments designed to be tiny little cages for not-so-free-range humans. China is the blueprint of the smart grid system, so you only have to look at what's happening there to know what's going on.
And we mention it all the time, man. The social credit scoring system, okay? Where if you're not doing exactly what they feel is fit, or whatever the case, however you want to put it, all right? Your credit score drops to the point where you fall off the map where you're not able to do anything. But you just out of there. All right. But then on the opposite end, when you do things that are pleasing to them, so-called pleasing to them, that is, all right, you might get some points here and there and your credit score goes up. All right. Which leads to incentives, right? Reasons to like, if you do this and that, you'll get, this amount of points or, and people will easily fall right into it, man. As you see, the Chinese people, they already like it anyways, all right? And so that's why they like this model of what the Chinese are doing, because it's a very important aspect of their micro CHIP system that they can implement into it, all right? So that social credit scoring system, as I always mention that, the social credit scoring system, along with the UBI, all right, going with the system of the RFID micro CHIP, the digital system and everything, hey, they'll have a perfect little system there, all right, put together to put the people under.
It's going to be heading here. Every single movement of every citizen is recorded 100% of the time to monitor their social credit score. Anyone who misbehaves or will not comply with the regime is socially shamed and punished by removal of access to public facilities.
See?
Anyone who is friends with them on social media gets punished as well by removing points from their social credit score.
That's crazy. Look, because see, then that gives you a reason to do what? If somebody is, because they're publicly shamed, right? So everybody knows about it. So that'll make everybody around them, disassociate themselves with that person. It could be a family member, okay? But it gives you a reason to say, credit score, all right? Social credit score. I don't want to deal with this person. Could be your best friend you knew all your life, all right? The only one you can trust on the planet, right? But with that, it's going to say, wait a minute, this credit score dropped for what? It really, the why doesn't even matter. The fact that the credit score dropped, for whatever reason, they're publicly shamed. Everybody's going to know about it. It's going to give you a reason to want to move away from that person. We're not saying you because, of the hopeful remnant, all right? We don't want no parts of that. But I'm just speaking in general. Gives those individuals a reason to say, wait, we got to move away from this person because we don't want this person's actions to drop our credit score when we're actually doing what's right. We're doing what's pleasing, okay? My credit score is doing okay. I'm going to have to leave this person alone. That's crazy.
This is how you train humans like puppies to be good boys and girls.
Yep, see?
Coming to a smart city near you, sponsored by Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum, and BlackRock.
Remember when the World Economic Forum aligned politicians all over the world were parroting the same line, Build Back Better? We now know that Build Back Better literally means destroying things first and then rebuilding according to New World Order plans.
I continue to come back until this is completely rebuilt. And I know it's rote and cliched, and even saying it's rote and cliched, but we will be back. Build Back Better. And I'll give a testament to that.
You are down with the blues, it means that the devil got into your shoes. You'll find him easy to lose, dancing the devil away. Just grin and don't let they live, but every try to
Some would
get
say
under
to
your
build
skin.
a
Pick up your
backpack.
feet
We
and
would
then
say
begin
to really have at least 80%.
Conspiracy.
Why does the government prioritize globalism over its own people? And how do these sellout globalists get away with it? During a recent hearing, a senator posed the question.
Prophecy. That's the answer. One word. Prophecy. That's how they get away with it. Prophecy. Which ultimately they're not getting away with it. But you get the point. All right. It's prophecy. That's how they're able to do what they're doing. It was meant to be. All the nations are meant to have their rulership. The only ones that haven't had the rulership yet are the Israelites. And that's the world without end. Isaiah, is that what, 45? Okay. Somewhere around 15, 16, 17, somewhere around there, I believe. A world without end. Okay. An unending age, forever, a perpetuity of time. Okay. So other than that, other than the Israelites, okay, when you're talking about all the heathen nations, all the heathens have had their chance to rule. And the last heathen is in rulership right now. By what? By way of prophecy, which just so happens, to be the Edomites. And you can actually trace that even back into our history. See? It's the season of Idumea. Every other nation has had their season. The Israelite season is coming next. Lord willing, we be a part of that, beginning season, right? The spring of the Israelites, okay? Which is basically Yahushua blessing. But the point being, all right, we're in the age of Esau right now, all right? We're in his season, okay? So he's getting away with what he's getting away with because it's his time to get away with things. It's his rulership. It's all according to prophecy. All the other nations were no different, okay? Our history that connects with these heathens are in the scriptures. Okay, they had their way because it was their time. It was their season by way of prophecy. And now it's Esau's time. It's his season by way of prophecy.
The question to Scott Bessent, the US Treasury Secretary nominee, asking if the Bank of England would act as the debt collector if the United States defaulted on its unsustainable debt. Bessent confirmed that this was true and admitted that he had only learned about this a few days ago. This revelation highlights a larger truth that the masses remain unaware of. The United States operates under two constitutions. The original 1776 Constitution established the Republic, but the 1871 Constitution effectively turned the country into a corporation. And this corporation isn't serving the American people. It's beholden to the globalist elite, prioritizing their agendas over our sovereignty and freedoms.
Was unaware until the past few days of this with the new exchange. What I can tell you is, as a student, a professor of economic history, that it is important for the U.S., for U.S. treasuries, for us to be able to resolve any stress issues in the market in the U.S. We saw during the Lehman Brothers bankruptcy that many of the problems emanated from the UK subsidiary. So this is something that, thank you for bringing this to my attention. And my inclination is that the resolution authority must lie here in the U.S., but I will get back to you in writing with an answer on this if confirmed.
Thank you. You appropriately mentioned China as one of our biggest challenges.
It's a criminal conspiracy, and the only way to restore our freedom is by returning to the principles of the 1776 Constitution. Hear the people's voice. We're determined to...
All right, so that's pretty much the end of that video. We're not done yet. I got something else here we're going to pull up real quick, so just bear with me a second. But 13 nations signed Web Treaty to destroy and rebuild major cities before 2030. All right, so that's that. Let's move on. All right, so here we have something a lot more recent. It says Trump's mass deportation operation begins with over 300 criminal aliens rounded up on day 1. All right. It has 2 dates here. It says January 24, 2025. Then also it says January 22nd. So I'm not sure which is the original date and which is the updated one. Because you never know. The original date could be January 24. I'm pretty sure it's 22nd, maybe updated to 24th or whatever the case may be. But you know, like I said, recent, right? Trump's mass deportation operation begins with over 300 criminal aliens rounded up on day 1. So the thing here, the first question, how do we know that they're all just criminals, right? How do we know that these 300 criminal aliens are actually all criminals? Because you're going to have some innocent people who are probably going to get wrapped up in this, whole ordeal of deportation. So it says U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers arrested at least 308 illegal immigrants on President Donald Trump's first full day in office. Border Czar Tom Homan announced Wednesday. On Tuesday, immigration authorities began arresting hundreds of illegal immigrants who have committed violent crimes, including murder and rape. Over 1.4 million immigrants residing in the U.S. illegally will be prioritized in the early days of Trump's second term. We're concentrating on the worst first, Homan told Fox and Friends host Lawrence Jones Wednesday morning, noting ICE is focusing on arresting public safety threats and national security threats, as Trump promised. Which, once again, how do you know that everybody is a criminal? Now, I'm pretty sure you might have some of these guys on record, possibly. But what about the ones you don't have on record? Are you just going to assume you got some racist neighbor that just goes and call up the hotline or whatever, and, I don't know, Eduardo and Nora, were just, being regular upstanding people, right? But because, Becky over there, all right, Karen more so, right? She was nasty and racist and whatnot. She just called ICE on them, all right, to get them shipped away. You see? So, and not only that, it's not the end of things, right? Because this really is a target towards the Northern Kingdom Israelites. But what happens? When they go back home, they're going to face the conditions they faced before, and so on and so forth, right? Which is worse, being here in America and destroyed? Because I guess if you don't know about the truth and you come to the truth of Yahweh Bashim al-Shah, even if you get sent back wherever you came from, then you might just be destroyed there. All right. But what's worse? Because you still have the possibility that may be some that, learn about the Lord. OK, so what's worse, getting sent back home or staying here in America and be destroyed? So, it just, it raises, different thoughts or whatever. But the main point is, obviously, as we see, it's a target towards Northern Kingdom Israelites. And they're going to be, the actual criminals of them that came over and flocked over, as well as some of the more innocent people who truly were just trying to flee their old life and, do better for themselves and their families. They're also going to get wrapped up in this. It says some of them were murderers. Some of them were rapists. Some of them raped a child. Some sexually assaulted a child, the Border Czar said of the 308 detainees. National Review contacted DHS and ICE for comment on additional details of the arrested criminal aliens. ICE made the arrest in and around Boston, Denver, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Seattle, Washington, D.C., and Miami. All right. It says Edward Marlon Arada Aldonada, a sex offender from El Salvador, was detained in Silver Spring, Maryland, near the nation's capital. And in Seattle, authorities arrested Mexican national Victorino Gaten Hernandez, who was convicted of sexually abusing a minor. It's crazy, and this raises another question. So if you knew this much about these people, how have they been here so long without anything being done to them? Well, think about it. Who was the last person as president? Biden. You had Biden and Harris, right? Kamala Harris. So they allowed the borders to be open. So, like the scripture say, he had two horns like a lamb and he spake as a dragon. But whether you be Republican or Democrat, they're both on the same team. So one opened the door for the next to come along and lay some more groundwork for the elites, man. All right, to bring down a heavy hand on the Israelites, man. Because it was under the Biden administration, more so pointing at Kamala Harris, who allowed the borders to be open and stay open and constantly talking about everything else except for dealing with the borders. But now all of a sudden Trump comes along and he's dealing with the borders. You see? So they're on the same team, man. It was set up smoothly. It says ICE arrested Kodir Majdadov, a 22-year-old Tajik national who, this is not even, probably not even an Israelite, all right? A Tajik national who was previously in the agency's custody in Philadelphia. He violated the terms of his release, leading to his latest arrest. Furthermore, Philadelphia police officer arrested Majdadov on December 29th for reckless endangerment of another person, fleeing or attempting to elude an officer, and reckless driving. All right, so you have that, man. People that may not even be Israelites, all right, just foreigners, period. Okay, there's been a lot of noise at that, even in Canada. All right, been a lot of noise with that. So there's so many elements here with this so-called migrant situation. It's just that these things are starting to come to light now. All right, because now they have Trump in office, so there's a different phase going on. So more things are being revealed. In Boston, ICE arrested at least 8 illegal immigrants, including MS-13 gang members and a Haitian gang member with 18 convictions, who said he ain't going back to Haiti and shouted F Trump, Biden forever. This story was first reported by Fox News correspondent Bill Mulligan. ICE is doing their job and performing excellently right now out in the field, Holman added. Yeah, ICE is actually out there. On Monday, Trump declared a national emergency to secure the southern border and halt the historic surge of illegal immigrants that proliferated under former President Joe Biden for 4 years. You know how many people could come over here in 4 years? All right. About 11 million immigrants were living in the U.S. illegally as of 2022, according to an April 2024 report from the Office of Homeland Security. How do you get the numbers, though? That's what's so weird. Like, how do these people always seem to come up with these numbers? So you mean to tell me that you have some kind of knowledge of these things? Somehow, you got to, all right? Because they're always randomly coming up with these numbers. Anyways, that figure is likely higher now due to record border crossings under Biden. Immigration raids in metropolitan cities are a part of the new administration's overarching vision for tackling illegal immigration. Though it was initially reported raids would start in Chicago on Tuesday, the sanctuary city hasn't seen much federal activity yet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure some of these brothers are going to live in cities where they're actually going to see this happening. Maybe if you live in an apartment in your same building or whatever, you're going to see these things go down. Bracing for the expected raids, Chicago residents are largely staying inside, causing foot traffic in the city's shopping district to drop by half. All right, so there's really not much there with this. Moreover, Trump authorized the deployment of up to, we posted that the other day, up to 1,500 additional active duty troops to the southern border on Wednesday. There are already roughly 2,200 troops in El Paso, Texas, the site of numerous border crossings in recent years. Yeah, there's been talk about even dealing with the cartels, so to speak, so they say. But there was a tunnel, which I never posted that. I saw it multiple times now. A tunnel they found. It was for drug smuggling, but obviously people could probably smuggle through there too. But it's a lot of just stuff that goes on with that border. It says, speaking with Fox News, Holman revealed there were 766 total. And if that's one hole they found, how many more might be out there, right? There were 766 total apprehensions at the southern border in the last 24 hours since Trump took office. The border czar called a drastic shift in immigration policy a game changer. Yeah, it is. All right, it's a heavy one. It says, when asked what it takes for an immigrant to receive a visit from ICE, Holman replied, there's nothing in immigration law that says you got to be convicted of a serious crime. Heavy, light it up. It says, there is nothing in immigration law that says you got to be convicted of a serious crime to be removed under the Immigration and Nationality Act. And this is what makes it so heavy. You don't have to be one of the criminals. You could actually truly be someone who genuinely wanted to leave the life that you were living before to do better for yourself and your family, and you're still going to get caught up in this. And it's mostly the Northern Kingdom Israelites. But as we just read, some, like, what was it, Tajik or whatever he was from, all right, there may, to a small degree, it doesn't matter, but to a smaller degree, even be just other nations wrapped up in this. But it's mostly targeted towards the Northern Kingdom Israelites, who, and there's brothers out there who actually are of the northern tribes, speak, so-called Spanish or whatever, different languages, or even just on a lesser level, like myself. My main spot is right there amongst Issachar. Though Issachar, a lot of them, you'll see them agree with what I'm talking about, what they're hearing, all right? Some of them, they just go off still and just live their regular life, all right? And then some of them, they have this notion about, we were brought up with Catholicism and this and that. Well, that's universal. And God doesn't love everybody. And there's a lot of people out there, especially Israelites, who cannot get over the fact that the Lord does not love everybody. Salvation is not for everybody. But just to stay on point, there's a lot of different, elements to this so-called border crisis here and what Trump has, issued, coming into office. So let's read this again. It says, there's nothing in immigration law that says you got to be convicted of a serious crime to be removed under the Immigration and Nationality Act, which I may look that up. Let me see. As a matter of fact, let me do this while I'm here. See if I can copy that and see what else I can find. Maybe, Lord willing. It says, which Trump invoked in a day one executive order. If you're in a country illegally, ICE can visit you. That's the bottom line there. All right. So that headline here, it says Trump's mass deportation operation begins with over 300 criminal aliens rounded up on day one. And bear with me a second. I'm not going to close out just yet. I'm going to pause it so I can find something. If I don't, we'll come back and close it off. All right. Yep. Perfect. This is what I wanted. This I posted in one of my news clippings. I've pulled it back up for sake of this conversation. So let me play it for you. For those that haven't seen it or heard it, from which the World Economic Forum is underway right now, all right, for 2025. And this is where this is from.
Davos, welcome back to the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum. Humanitarian and military assistance while pushing.
The owner of a small restaurant is responsible if their food poisons customers. Social media tycoons should be held responsible in their algorithms poison our society.
You hear that? Social media tycoons should be responsible in their algorithms. And why is that so important? Because, brothers use different platforms for whatever, purpose, whether it be business-wise in their, personal lives or, maybe for, they use certain things for the ministry, right? But the main place that is done is on the YouTube, all right? And we already know YouTube algorithm is just, all spaghetti, all right? So it's already jacked up anyways, okay? So this includes, things like the YouTube, okay? Being responsible for the algorithm. So what is this an attack on? This is an attack, somewhat leaning towards the ministry. And as I always say it because it's true, speaking on free speech, freedom of speech, disinformation, misinformation, medical misinformation, all those things, they never go away. Though Esau stops talking about them sometimes, they never go. They're constantly in the background trying to crack down on the ministry. And this is why, there's been a major warning as of late, especially, period, but especially as of late, ramped up, almost begging Israelites, all right, admonishing them, all right, like this is almost like a final warning. It's not, because we don't know when things are going to shut down. But the point being that there's not much time left, all right, where the ministry is going to be cut off. As a matter of fact, let me try to do this. I didn't think I was going to need it. That's not that. So I'm going to just pull up another one real quick. And I'll play that video for you. We'll close it off. We pretty much talked about what we want to talk about. Am I looking for, is it 33? I probably should have read this other scripture I'm thinking of first, but we'll get them both. All right. So Isaiah 33:6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Where is the beginning of wisdom? All right. The fear of the Lord. Okay. I'm not going to pull it up. But yeah, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All right. Where you get your knowledge and understanding. All right. Which is a gift. Okay. So it goes back to what? Knowing the names of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. They're the most important things in this ministry, pillars in this ministry, man. Okay. It says, and the strength of salvation, the fear of Yahweh is His treasure. Okay. So we have to understand that this gospel, this truth that's being preached into the four corners of the earth as a witness before the end comes, is imperative to your near future. Talking about you Israelites. Amos chapter 8, verse 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. And how you were hearing the words of Yahweh every single day online by the prophets, man, and every week, on the streets as well. And then when the ministry shut down and it goes down, what does it say? And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it, because the ministry is going to be shut down. And that's why we're warning Israelites now. We're not going to be warning you forever about that. You're Israelites, your power, and so on and so forth, and your savior, and all these things, and repenting. We're not going to be talking about these things forever. Soon the Lord is going to take an abrupt shift, because no one knows the day and the hour where certain prophecies are going to be fulfilled. The Lord is going to take an abrupt shift. Okay. And the ministry is going to, just like that, the ministry is going to be shut down. And how is it probably going to begin? From the left-hand side, from them cracking down on, the prophets on the streets and being able to teach freely on the internet and things of that nature. All right. And you're no longer going to be able to find those answers that you're looking for. And the ministry is shut down. You got to get this now. Okay. The Isaiah 33 and 6 is so important, as well as this one, Amos 8, verse 11 and 12. So important because you have to get this truth and understanding now. You have to return back to the Lord and repent now before it's too late. Because when it goes down, hey, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. All right. And what does it say in Matthew and Luke? All these things are the beginning of sorrows, like what we just talked about. The migrant situation is, though it seems so major, it's really minor. All right. Because what's happening is people are getting taken up and pushed back out of America, but that's major because it's not like they're being put to death or anything. So imagine that same type of situation, but now people are being taken to the chopping block. They're rounding people up to take you to some camp or somewhere to put you on the chopping block. That's when it gets serious. And the scriptures say that all these things are the beginning of sorrows. Let me see if I can pull back up. Here it is right here.
In short, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm proposing is that we take the fight for misinformation, hate speech. So let's take back control.
See, hate speech.
Let's return digital platforms to their original purpose and transform them into safe and fair spaces for conversation.
Look, take it back to the original. What was the original form for? Folly. A lot of people just doing dance videos and stuff like that. All right, cooking videos. All right, take it back to BS and folly. All right, we don't want this age of truth, right? We don't want all this truth out here. We don't want all these people's opinions out here. We don't want all these people who are focused on what the government is doing so much and calling their bluffs. All right, take it back to folly and foolishness. Take it back to a safe space for conversation. And what was the conversation? It was folly. It's foolishness. You see, they want the American people stupid. That's where they want to take it back to. Well, actually, you really, I mean, well, yeah, you can say America, but, you know, because social media is worldwide, but you get the point, though.
And let's stop those who want to turn them into a weapon for dismantling our democracies.
And who's doing that? There's only one group of people teaching the truth. That's the Israelites. Who's trying to, let me play that back for you so you can catch it now.
Let's make social media great again. Want to turn them into a weapon for dismantling our democracies.
They want to turn it into a weapon for dismantling our democracies. See, Esau and his pride, he wants to live forever and rule forever, and he wants nothing to do with the Heavenly Father and his commandments, his scriptures, all right? What does thou do to declare my statutes, all right? As we often bring out in Job 21, all right? We desire not the knowledge of thy ways. They don't want to hear what the Lord is talking about. They don't want to hear the mouths of the prophets, man. But they want to stop the mouths of the prophets. All right. But the scriptures say that their hands shall not perform their enterprise, man. So this goes back to the pride of Esau. Okay.
In a nutshell, let's make.
And of course, cracking down on the ministry, which is why we just read Isaiah 33 in that Amos chapter 8.
Social media great again. I know it won't be easy. I know we are all scared, because the people we are up against are extremely powerful. They have almost unlimited financial and technological resources and very dangerous allies, and they play dirty because they don't follow our moral rules.
So who are they talking about? They're talking about some random entity, all right? So, and if it is real, it will set up on the opposite side, all right? Controlled opposition. So they're talking about some random entity, but the undertone to it, all right, is really something that's directed towards the prophets, because we don't have a bunch of money. So they clearly, they're trying to, you know, hide their real purpose, okay? They're trying to hide the real purpose, which is shutting down the prophets of the Lord, man. That's the real threat to their democracy. That's the real threat to the new world order and Esau, Edom, and his ways and things of that nature. Because they not all know, the elites, the upper echelon, they know that their next stop on this train of life is getting off in chains, right? When the train stops, they're coming off the train in chains. That's their next stop, okay? But guys like this has just been set up with a speech, you know, with the script to play his part and so on and so forth. But the real target there, though it doesn't sound like it, you're right. If you listening with a spiritual eye, the real target are the men that are teaching on the streets, right? The prophets of the Lord.
And live in a world without consequences. of their political ideologies and take both.
Hold on, let me not graze over that. He says, living in a world without consequences. What's the consequences? All right, eventually to be persecuted, lied on, plastered over TV, okay, on the news and stuff. Public enemies, number one. These Israelites, these black Hebrew Israelites, right? Have your family, everybody around you that sees you in your everyday life believing that you're some kind of terrorist and ready to turn you in. Okay, it's gonna get real serious. Excuse me. It's gonna get real serious real quick, man. When you have to forsake everything and trust in the Lord, like we've been obviously learning about, which you should have that in your, which no one can make you. You know, you got to be persuaded in your own mind, all right, to know and understand that that time is coming, and you got to forsake all. But think about what you're going to receive in return, because it's not about the reward, but there is a reward for you staying the course and trusting and fearing mostly the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. All right, understanding what we're fighting for, okay.
These gains,
and because the scriptures talk about being as pilgrims on the earth. So there's going to come a time of person. It talks about that in Esdras. Talks about it in what? Revelation. Okay, they should drag you into their prisons and so on and so forth. All right. Some of us are going to get caught. Some of us are actually going to get caught and get put to death. Some may get caught and I don't know, you somehow get broken free and you go off, you know, hiding in the wilderness. All right. Some may go straight to the wilderness and be, you know, pilgrim straightway. However, the Lord has it planned out for you. We don't know each one of our individual walks, but we know what the scriptures say, and we trust what the Lord is saying. We don't care about what Esau is talking about. All right, Matthew 10:28, we often quote, "Fear him that can kill the body and soul in hell." That's the Heavenly Father. We're not fearing death because we understand death now through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shemashah. We understand death. All right, it's nothing. It's a simple thing to this carnal body. All right, reincarnation happens, and it has happened. All right, it's still happening because I'm pretty sure people are being reincarnated on the earth right now. But just death in general, all right, it's simply a stepping stone to that spiritual realm, and then you come back. All right, but this time, even if you be put to death, when you come back, you're going to be immortal. Okay, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. The dead in the Messiah shall rise first. Then we that remain shall be caught up together with them in the air and be with the Lord forever. Just paraphrasing. All right, but and he says that we're all afraid. Says that it Wisdom of Solomon. All right, they're afraid. They understand. Okay, the higher ups, that is. Not everybody here sitting in this room, but the higher ups. All right, they understand. Okay, they know what's going down. They know they have a short time, and they know that the Israelites are back in their right minds, knowing that they're Israelites, even if it's not all of them. The Lord only needs a remnant. So they know this is the marking of the end of their kingdom, man. They know it's near.
Also came huge downsides. Hidden in the bowels of the algorithms, like invaders concealed in the belly of a Trojan horse. We didn't realize it then, but we do know. We do know. Now,
it's interesting how he mentions the Trojan horse there, but you know, it's all clever words, man. And regardless of what they aiming at, the true goal and the true aim is always going to be the ministry, man. All right. I believe that's the end of that. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. That's all we have for you. We're gonna end it with that video there. You know, another session, various articles. So Lord willing, you will edify. To next time, Yahshua, I'm going to say shalom.